And we are back. Our featured guest this week is the current Alabama State Auditor and the leader of the Block the Toll movement in Alabama, Jim Zeigler. Jim helped start one of the most remarkable civic activism movements in recent memory here along the coast. And the movement has actually spread to multiple states as infrastructure issues are raised across the country. And there's even more coming on the horizon. So please welcome to the show Mr. Jim Zeigler. Jim, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so very much, David, and we appreciate your taking interest in what we the people are concerned about.
Well, I know for a fact that our Alabama audience will know you, but for those in our neighboring states watching, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm the elected state auditor for the entire state of Alabama, all 67 counties. And now let's see, we're talking to people also in Mississippi and...
Well, our audience
Florida.
pretty much goes pretty much from Destin, Florida, all the way to Louisiana state line.
Okay. In Mississippi, they have a new state auditor, and he has been very, very active. He uncovered the largest government fraud in Mississippi state history, and there have just been a number of investigations and arrests in that. And in Mississippi, their state auditor has something that ours does not have in Alabama, and that is powers to investigate financial misdoings in government at all levels. And so what I've had to do is use the very little powers that I've had and be a citizen activist who happens to be sitting in the state auditor's office. My mission when I was elected in 2014 was to turn the state auditor's office into something that it had never been, and that is a watchman against government waste, inefficiency, mismanagement, and corruption. And gracious knows we needed that, and we've been able to do a lot along that line.
So is that what got you into politics, wanting to make sure that there wasn't mismanagement or misdeeds?
Well, yes, it was. As a private citizen for the previous 30 years before I was elected, I was involved in a half dozen or so cases where we citizens would challenge government spending. We filed a taxpayer lawsuit against politicians getting into the state employees' retirement system, and we won that case. The state retirement system is not designed for part-time city councilmen and part-time mayors. It is for state workers. It's their career, and they need a strong retirement system, and we have one. And we will fight to keep a strong retirement system. We don't want the politicians getting their hands on the retirement money.
Let's chat for a second about this truly monumental movement you helped start here, the Block the I-10 toll. I can only think did you imagine yourself starting a movement like this, or was there a specific straw that broke the camel's back that's made you say, I've got to do something, I can't sit back on this?
Well, it was the latter. When ALDOT and the Ivey administration first proposed putting a new bridge across I-10 on Mobile Bay, that sounded like, well, that's a good idea. There is some congestion, mostly during the afternoon and morning rush hours and on the weekends that are beach weekends. And so I was listening, everybody was listening. We wanted some fixed for the congestion. But when they came out with the toll plan, it was a bad plan. And the more we found out about it, the worse it got. For instance, they said, well, it's going to be a $6 toll. We got to looking at it, that's one way. If you want to go home, that's another $6. And then we found out that's per car. If the family's got 2 cars, 3 cars, everybody is going to be paying the toll. And then we found out they were going to give a 55-year lease on this interstate highway to some outside investor who would not be much accountable to anybody. And it just reeked of a 55-year mistake. And then we found out that there was a non-compete clause, so that the state was agreeing not to do any enhancement and improvement on the old causeway, the old Bankhead Tunnel, or the Africatown Bridge, so that people would have to use that toll bridge more and more. And that's just unconscionable. So as we released this new information, the group quickly grew. We started out with 1 member, me. And within 3.5 months, we had 55,000 members. Now, they weren't just names on a list. They were active, emailing, posting on Facebook, going to meetings, writing letters, sending emails. Most of these citizens had never been activists before. Well, they are now. And believe it or not, 52,000 of them have stayed with us for other issues of government accountability. That's amazing that when our main issue was over,
so singular, it was such a singular issue, but the thing is it's indicative of a bigger problem, right?
It is a much bigger problem. Montgomery, our state capital in Alabama, is owned and operated and controlled by the Montgomery insiders. I'm not one of them. I'm one of the outsiders. And there are many, many more of us tax-paying public than there are of the Montgomery wheeler dealers. But they know what's going on, and they're up there right now putting things together to benefit themselves.
Well, I want to come back. We got to go to a quick commercial break. And then when we come back, I want to talk about your book, Blocking the I-10 Toll Scheme. So we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back with author and state auditor Jim Zeigler.